This happened in a big Midwestern city, what I'm going to tell you. Never mind which one. Until that night, my life had been pretty plain. I grew up in Prairie Creek, Iowa, went into the service straight out of high school, never saw combat. Vietnam was winding down. They sent me to Hawaii for a couple of years. I came home, got some schooling, got married, and there you have it. 6 years later, I had 3 children, split level in the suburbs, 2 sales awards. I was no saint, but I took pride in being a reliable neighbor, a good father, a faithful husband. We come now to the night of October 12th. The year doesn't matter. I was in that big city I mentioned, working a trade show. The last night, the company sponsored a hospitality suite at the hotel. Around 8 o'clock, I put away 1 beer, not enough to impair my judgment. 1 beer, and I'm a big man, as you can see. Not enough to impair my judgment. Then I completed the paperwork for an express checkout in the morning and went to bed. But I couldn't sleep. I don't know why. I kept twisting and wriggling. Finally, I said, "Oh, the hell with it." I got dressed and started home. I figured I could get back in time for breakfast and surprise the kids if I kept a steady foot on the pedal. The streets were empty. The bars were closed. I entered a residential neighborhood between my hotel and the turnpike. I was picturing the look in my children's eyes when they saw me in the morning, when all of a sudden, whoop! I got halfway down the block before I could stop. Not that I was speeding. Yes, I know what you're thinking. That was my own first thought too. I might have been speeding. But I put it to myself right then when the incident was still fresh in my mind, and I ruled it out. I was going about 25 miles an hour, well below the posted speed limit, which itself was probably conservative for that time of night. It's true I took my eyes from the road for a moment, but only to glance in the rearview mirror. You have to look in the rearview mirror now and then. And I only looked for half a second. It would have been bad driving if I hadn't done that much. But when I looked back, there he was, just a silhouette. He must have jumped out from behind the van, thinking he could bolt across the road. Insanity. He was there, then came that horrible whomp, and he was gone. Honest to God, it happened that fast, but it felt slow. I had many seconds to study the silhouette in my headlights, or so it seemed. When my bumper struck the man, the crash of metal against flesh seemed to draw out for at least a minute. When he fell, I felt the jolt of my front wheels passing over him, and then time ground nearly to a halt as the car inched onward, and I sat gripping the wheel, my foot moving slowly, slowly, slowly onto the brake pedal and pressing slowly, slowly down, all the time knowing what was coming and shuddering when it came. A second jolt as my rear tires bumped over the man too. And of course that whole time I was thinking, putting on the brakes for what? 2 tons of metal had already slammed into the man, and 2 sets of tires crunched over his bones and bowels. Putting on the brakes for what? This line of thought and other ones streamed through my head in separate tracks. I had time to visit each of them in turn. My limbs felt numb, but each one kept doing its appointed work even after that second whomp. The hands went on steering, the feet kept on working the brakes and the clutch pedal. One stream of thought was even measuring the sound of the engine, judging when to re-engage the clutch. Oh, my parts kept functioning superbly on their own. Only the headquarters was out of commission, the central eye. That's why I don't say my hands, my feet. I say the hands, the feet.